This is good morel country.
Well, the sky is ashy white, and the fields are burning bright, and all we love fades out of sight. Pray for rain.
If you don't like a wet spring, you won't find morel. How long have I been hunting morels? Well, at least since my kids were very, very small, about 30 years, I guess. I remember the first time I saw a morel was in the 70s. And I thought they were weird looking things. I couldn't imagine people ate them.
I think the fact that it's a wild thing, you know, you feel a little wild when you eat them. It comes from the earth, taste of the earth.
Yeah.
Helps get you connected.
There's an old wives' tale that by the time the leaves on the oak trees are the size of a mouse's ears, it's time. If I'm under a canopy and I really can see far, I'll have binoculars. So I'll be on the ground zero for where I found this, and then I don't find any more. Then I'll just kind of like look around.
You have to kind of get your morel eyes on, too.
Yeah. How many spots do I have? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots maybe, that I check regularly. I never take people to my spots.
He doesn't even take me.
Yeah, I don't trust her. There's honor among people. You know, people know each other's spots and stay out of them. So. But some people don't. Big fish stories can get you in trouble because then people maybe will follow you around and look for your spots. It's very secretive. Nobody talks. Bill Russell, he's the guy.
First time I hunted morels, boy, that was quite a while ago. Well, I'm 77 years old now, and I started when I was in diapers. But all my life, it's just been a hobby, and I learned them on my own. Morel hunters are a class by themselves. You can identify them in the spring because they carry long sticks. Most of them do. Some of them try to hide their identity, you know, and don't carry sticks. Those are morel sticks, and what they're doing is poking around the weeds and the leaves to turn over the, leaves to show the morels. They kind of look like they're trying to be invisible. Sometimes they wear camouflage clothing. Sometimes they crawl on their hands and knees. Or sometimes they come at the crack of dawn when nobody's around to see them. And a lot of tricks and techniques. Basically, they're all deceptive.
If you're down on your hands and knees in the forest, or in a squat position and you're looking around, people pretty much know what you're looking for at that time of year. You have to be careful that you don't talk too much about your spots, because people will figure out where your spot is and then they'll go there.
Morels are the kind of mushroom that are so hard to see. They are so neatly camouflaged that you almost have to go out with a friend who has learned to pick them, and they point them out to you.
The cultivated mushrooms that we grow and that you find in the stores primarily will feed on organic matter directly, dead tissue frequently. The morels are not near as simple. The morel mushroom forms a special kind of survival structure called a sclerosum. It's a complex kind of relationship we don't know a lot about.
Mushrooms are hard to predict, especially morels. It's because we don't know too much about growing them. Although one scientist in one of the Midwest states did come up with a method for growing them and was growing them by the bushel baskets. Yeah. And he did not patent his recipe. He did not keep notes because he wanted to keep it private. And one day, He was shot and killed by a drive-by shooter. And people do not know how he did it, how he grew those morels.
There's no rhyme or reason that I can see. They are where, it's like, what do they say? Gold is where you find it. You know, morels are where you find them. I don't have any rules. No rules, just wet weather. Real soggy wet weather.
It really depends. If you have moisture, you have a good wet spring, it helps. If you have a really dry spell in the spring, it's going to be hard to find them.
Find them, you pick them, you bring them home, you clean them, generally. And some people sell them, buy or pick them and sell them. We used to have a friend that would pick them and then trade them for meals in restaurants. They have a nutty flavor. They have a wild flavor. You know, once you eat morels and other wild mushrooms, when you eat the regular store-bought, you know, button mushrooms, they seem tasteless.
There are different ways to cook them. It's a very versatile mushroom. I have a very good way to cook morels. I give them to my wife.
Pretty much the simpler the better when you're preparing them, because they have such strong flavor. You don't really want to mess with it too much. You want to extend the flavor. You can just saute them and cook them in butter. You can add a little garlic or not. There's a recipe for John Coor's sauteed morels in my cookbook.
I like them in omelets, scrambled eggs. I also like them in pasta. She makes them in pasta.
People that hunt morels, they'll go out, they'll find the morels, they'll harvest, and then they'll sell them to the local restaurants. In the spring, very soon you'll see them on Craigslist, where people will be selling morels online. Depending on where you are and how good the year is, I've seen $20, $30, $40 a pound.
Well, the first time that I picked a lot of morels, I came back with, I don't know, 10 pounds. I said, what's the best restaurant in New York at the time, which was, just in jest, which was a place, Lutece, and a guy, Andre Saltner, was a really famous chef. I got on the phone and I called up, just as a joke, almost. And I said, I'm a mushroom hunter from central Pennsylvania. I would like to speak with Andre. I have morels for sale. He got right on the phone. And somebody told me that you can get, what was it, $100 a pound? Yeah, $100 a pound. So he got on and he said, well, what do you want for them? And I told him I had them, and you know, blah, blah, blah. He told me, of course, the ones from France were much superior, but whatever. And I'm thinking $100, and as soon as he asked me what I wanted for them, I immediately, you know, lost my guts and said $50, you know. And he laughed, and he said, where did you hear that price? And I said, you know, well, that's, you know, what people told me. He says, whoever will give you that price, you should grab that guy. He says, I'll give you blah, 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 which is 1/10 of it, I think. And here it's because $100 a pound is for dried morels. So once they dry out, they're about 1/10 of the weight, 15% of the weight. So my $900 or whatever I thought I had shrunk to about 90. So I said, all right, Andre, I think I'll just eat them myself. So we just laughed. We met later on, about a year later, and he laughed about it. So just take them home and eat them. Don't be boasting about them. It varies dramatically from season to season, you know, how many you're going to find, or whether you'll find them at all. Your take can really vary dramatically depending on how wet the season is. Pray for rain.
Pray for rain. The lake is going down. Lord, to make a greener ground for the folks who live in town. Pray for rain. Pray, Lord, pray.